Welcome to East St. Paul's planning meeting. The time is 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order and I'll have the resolution read to adopt the agenda as presented.
Be resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Now mover, please. Councillor Duval, second by Councillor Imhoff. Call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Before I start on to the next item, I'll just acknowledge that over the weekend we had a second East St. Paul Day, and it was a huge success with many, many participants. I think we estimate that we had about 750 individuals purchase hot dogs, so that's an idea of how many people we may have had. I think that our CSOs thought that between 2 and 3 o'clock we had about 1,500 people. So the splash pad in particular was a hit. It was full all day, even into the evening. I think we still had kids there. Well, just before just before it was shut down, we still had kids playing in the splash pad. I didn't get to participate in the foam party, but I know Councillor Posthumus did, and it looked like a lot of fun.
It was a big hit.
Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Steady.
Yeah.
And went like 8 feet high and the kids would run out. You're worried, but nobody hit heads. It turned out fantastic.
Didn't lose any.
Couple glitches. The cord got tripped and it tripped once and I had to went up the ladder and replugged it and whatever, but it was fantastic. The kids had fun and they all looked like abominable snowmen coming out of there, all covered in foam.
Very true. And the parade was fantastic. We had more individuals participate. Hoddinott was lined up with so many people. We ran out of candy about 3/4, halfway for sure.
I'm lucky halfway.
Yeah, and we had Shauna Dram grab someone's bike on the sidelines and drive back to her car to reload us with candy. It was a great event with a lot of people that participated and everyone came together and it was really nice to see. So I don't know if any other councillors have anything to say, but I just wanted to acknowledge that it was a successful day. Councillor Duval?
There must have been some sick kids there because the candy floss was going out by the bushels.
Yes, Councillor Duval was spinning candy floss for about 5 hours.
Well, not
So-
quite, but.
Until I kicked him out of there. And then the CEO thought she was gonna help me and that was just not gonna happen. She was making a big mess. I had to send her back to the hot dog stand. So it was, every time we thought the line, I was like, oh, Brian, I think it's dying down, and it would just double. It's like all day, constantly 50 to 80 people in that line. So cotton candy was a big hit.
There's nothing like the word free,
True enough.
especially free and cotton candy together.
Yeah. A lot of people tried to give us money and pay for it, and we obviously didn't accept that, but they were just shocked, like, what, we're getting cotton candy for free? So next year I said we have to have 2 machines.
Yeah.
Honestly, the line was just too long for the heat and everything. It was it's pretty entertaining. I didn't get to participate in the dog show, but I think it was a success too.
It was amazing. I sat with the granddaughter and watched it, and the ones that jump for frisbees, that's like they're getting 5 feet, 4 feet in the air, and they'd run the full length and jump and going in and out of the hoops and over the jumps, and a couple times they sent 2 at once in opposite direction and they pass each other going through and then the one decides, I like that dog, so he's chasing the other dog all over it was quite entertaining. It was really good.
Yeah, in the evening at the where the band was playing, and then we had the fireworks show, which was absolutely spectacular, I will say. And we had no mosquitoes. Not one mosquito landed on me, so that was great. But I did have individuals that grew up in East St. Paul come up and say, this is fantastic, that we have this again. I guess they had East St. Paul Days was a thing in the past. And, they were excited that it was brought back and community was coming back together. And then some business owners that were there were wanting to participate next year. So I think over every year, it's just gonna grow into a larger event. Anybody else have anything to say? Okay, well, we'll move on to the next item, which is the adoption of the minutes. Resolution.
Be resolved that the minutes of the May 27th, 2025 planning meeting be approved.
I have a mover, please. Counselor Posthumous, second by Counselor M. Any edits to the minutes? Call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Have any delegations this evening, but we do have two public hearings. The first public hearing is 8-1, so I'll have the resolution read to open the public hearing.
Resolved that council open the public hearing of council for variation order 48, 2025 for 785 Park.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Horechko, second by Counselor Posthumous. All those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now open and I'll pass the floor off to.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any cotton candy or secret on it. We have various numbers for the so this is the property located at 785 Hoddinott Road. It's the increase in maximum building area for a detached accessory building. The property is zoned R117, and in that zone, you're limited to 800 square feet for a detached garage. So, the applicant would like to build a 30 by 36 detached building, which was 1,080 square feet size. I should note that this property, as you can see on the air photo, is an acre in size. The R117 typically asks for 50,000 square foot lot. That's typically subdivision. So it is bigger in scale. So here's a layout that the applicant has provided showing the existing house and the garage in behind there, separated by over 80 feet from the garage. So we don't have to worry about setback conversion. There's lots of space for it. The applicant stated in their letter of intent, I'm sure they'll speak a little bit more this evening. The purpose of this building is to build the store,
Oh, thank you.
bicycles, yard equipment, that sort of thing, keep them out of the elements and secure shelter. This has been circulated to the RM staff and there are concerns of them. Should council wish to approve this, there are just two standard conditions. One that variance is limited to what's been proposed, so I can come back and want to go something bigger. If you come back to the as well as obtain all required approvals from our office. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions for the planner?
Fine.
Okay, is the applicant advanced and like to speak to the application today? Hey, are you Jeremy Mullins? Okay, if you'd like to come to the podium and to the microphone and just state your name and address for the record, and then you can speak to your application.
Jeremy, we're at 75. Still going to build a secondary structure on my property. The bigger garage because we just have a single attached garage to the house right now and it's getting pretty full. The garage is going to be finished beautifully in hardyboard planking. It's going to be set back with it's just going to be primarily used for vehicle storage, my tractor, their equipment, bicycles. That is all.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions?
No.
No questions. Thank you. And then I'm probably not going to say your name correctly. Is it Yuka? Yuka. Would you like to speak to the application or are you just in support? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we don't have anybody signed in opposition. We don't have anybody signed for information. Do we have anybody online? No. Okay, so council will close the public hearing.
Be resolved that council close the public hearing of council for variation order 48, 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Posthumous. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now closed. We'll have the resolution read.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 65400 located at 785 Hoddinott Road has submitted an application for variation order number 48/2025, requesting approval to increase the maximum allowable building area to detached accessory structure designed to construct a detached garage on the subject property from 800 square feet to 1,080 square feet. Now therefore be it resolved that variation order 48/2025 be approved, subject to the following conditions. This variance is limited to the details presented in the approved application. Any future modifications, replacements, or additions will require a new variance application and approval. And the owner must obtain all necessary permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality as applicable.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horechko, seconded by Councillor Duval. I'll open the floor up for discussion. Oh,
Pretty straightforward. We've seen these multiple times or whatever. I'm in full support of this.
okay, so then I'll,
Same thing, it's, we've had these requests and it's a large lot, it's not gonna make much difference there, so. I approve.
yeah, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. That's approved. And we have the next public hearing, 6.2, for resolution to open the public.
Resolve that council open public hearing of council for a variation of 36 Ryanworth Way.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Posthumous, seconded by Councillor Horechko. Call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. The public hearing is now open, and I'll pass the floor up to Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Mayor. As noted, this is variance number 135/2024. It's for a property located at 36 Ryanworth Way, and it involves commercial signage on commercial building. Specifically, there is some signage, I believe, on the building, was on the building, and the applicant is removing some of those. It still needs a variance for the size of the characters, the height of the characters. Your bylaw limits the height of letters and numbers just under 2 feet in height. The applicant is proposing 2.39 feet something in height, so not that much taller. Here is the subject property, bit of an awkward shaped lot there on Ryanworth Way, and the red arrow shows where the sign is. So just of notes, they are removing some of the signage, I guess that's on there, but the so we're just dealing with on the front of the building. This has been circulated. There's no concerns that have come up. It should wish to approve this. Two standard requirements that staff think changes will come back to council. So
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Okay, so the applicant, Lindsay Brown, Kelly Brown, do you want to speak to the app? Okay, come on up.
Brown, I'm the general manager for Payroll. I just wanted to confirm that the signage at the rear of our building that faces the perimeter, and I believe it's the west facing, or at least the one that was on the side above our dock doors, those have been removed. And the Campbell and Make Your Best Move have lettering on the front side that we're looking for the variance on. Those have been removed also, so I just wanted to confirm that everything that was outside of those 3 letters of AMJ have been taken down off of the building, so we're just looking for approval of the variance of about 4.5 inches.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Okay, thank you. We don't have anybody signed in opposition, no one for information, anybody online? No, okay, so we'll close the public hearing.
Be resolved that council close the public hearing of council for variation order 135/2024.
May I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Imhoff. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll have the resolution read.
Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 100640 located at 36 Ryan Way has submitted an application for variation order number 135/2024, requesting approval to increase the maximum permitted facial letter height on the front facade of the building located on the subject property from 0.60 meters to 0.73 meters. Therefore, be it resolved that variation order number 135/2024 be hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. This variance shall apply strictly to the proposal as submitted. Any future modifications, replacements, or additions to signage will require a new variance application and approval. And the applicant owner shall obtain all necessary permits from the regular planning district and the municipality as applicable.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Duval, seconded by Counselor Imhoff. I'll open the floor up for discussion. Obviously, we're not going to have an issue with this request tonight. I'm just wondering if maybe we can move to some in-house variances at 10%, just so that these are not coming forward when it's inches.
So I'm upping it from 10 to 15.
That's great.
Good.
Great. Okay,
As part of that, okay.
perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, so next under bylaws, we have 7.1 for resolution. There goes our audience.
Thanks. Work, thank you.
Whereas section 3 of the Planning Act as amended provides that a board or council may by bylaw adopt secondary plans as objectives and issues within its scope of authority in a part of the planning district and municipality. Now therefore be it resolved that council will from East St. Paul enacts as follows. This bylaw may be cited as the East St. Paul secondary plan, that the boundaries of the East St. Paul secondary plan are described in Schedule 8, 2025-10, and as shown in the document marked as 8 to bylaw 2025-10, that the document entitled East St. Paul secondary plan attached hereto and marked as Schedule B to bylaw 2025-10 is hereby adopted as a secondary plan for the community of East St. Paul and is hereby given first reading.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, seconded by Counselor Duval. I'll open the floor up for questions or comments or discussion. Okay, hearing none. I'll call for the question then. All those in favor? Sorry, did everybody raise their hand? Oh, carried. Now we'll move under policies. We have 8.1 for resolution.
Be resolved that arena policy CON-102 be approved as amended.
May I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, second by Counselor Duval. Are there any questions or comments in regards to the arena policy? Megan here to date. If you have any questions, she can, from community services, she can answer those questions. Okay, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carrying. That was easy. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
We're really easy on you tonight.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Down to 8.2 for resolution.
Be resolved that recruitment, selection, and hiring policy PER 107 approved as amended.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Posthumous, second by Counselor Horechko. I'll open the floor up for questions or comments. Not hearing any, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And then down to finances, so 9.1 for resolution.
Be it resolved that the schedule of accounts dated June 10th, 2025, amounting to $6,540 be confirmed as paid.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, second by Counselor Duval. Any questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And then 9.2 for resolution.
Be resolved that the schedule of accounts paid since May 13th, 2025, meeting council amounting to $495,720.39.
Have a mover, please. Counselor Imhoff, second Counselor Duval. Any questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And then 9.4 for resolution.
Be resolved that the net payroll and council indemnities for the Arm of East St. Paul for May 16th to June 10th, 2025, amounting to $244,582.34 be approved.
Have a mover, please. Counselor Posthumous, seconded by Counselor Horechko. Any questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And then down to general business. We have 10.11 for resolution.
Be resolved that the Arm of East St. Paul enters into an agreement with Wheelchair Service Manitoba Inc. for a 3-year term commencing January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2027. And be it further resolved that the mayor and city authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the municipality.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Posthumous, second by Counselor Horechko. Any comments or questions? Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And then moving down under general is 10.2.
Section 77.41 of the Police Services Act states that a municipality may appoint community safety officers in accordance with this section. And whereas section 77.42 states that to be eligible for appointment as a community safety officer, the person must have prescribed qualifications. And whereas section 77.4.1 states that a community safety officer must receive training on crime prevention, public safety, conflict de-escalation, detention procedures, and other prescribed matters. Therefore, be it resolved that Jules Morris meets all the requirements set out in the Police Services Act and is hereby appointed as a community safety officer for the Arm of East St. Paul, as a casual community safety officer for the Arm of East St. Paul.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Imhoff, second by Counselor Duval. I'll open the floor up for questions or comments. Not hearing any. I'll just say that it's nice that we were able to fill the position relatively quickly and with a very qualified senior officer. So that's fantastic, Suzanne. Thank you. Counselor Duval?
Yeah, I'd also like to comment, all 3 CSOs were at the East St. Paul days, at least for a while anyway. And their presence is always very welcome to all the residents, of course, to the organizers. You know, it means a lot to a big group, and on the parade too as well.
Just to further on that, they attended the entire day. So we
An evening.
Time the parade started until
Okay, so call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. And that's 10.2.
the next one will require some, but I'll just read the chair of the resolution. Be it resolved that be authorized to attend the Broken Head Ojibwe Nation Golf Tournament on August sixth, 2025 at the Mars Sand Hills Golf Course in Manitoba. And if council so chooses to sponsor the event, they would agree and be it further resolved that the RMLD St. Paul sponsor at the Nation annual golf tournament in the amount of to be determined.
Okay, so first we'll just have a discussion and see, oh, you want me to move it? Okay, so Councilor Horechko, seconded by Councilor Duval. We'll open the floor up for discussion. Yeah, so I think that, you know, we should support, and I wonder who would like to attend.
I go.
Councilor Horechko, Councilor Postumus.
I would love to go, but I'm booked up that day, so.
Okay, so then we'll go, Councilor Duval and myself, right? So we're a team of 4.
It's 2-person team.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah,
It is, I saw that.
150 a person or 300 for a team. I don't know if that's a,
But isn't it a team 4 people usually?
normally,
Yeah, it's normally in a tournament, it's 4, so either way,
either way.
Still 4 of us can still go.
either way. we
Yeah.
can go, Yeah,
Golfing in a foursome, it's just that
I would imagine, yeah,
2 and 2 for score.
yeah,
okay,
must be 150.
Easier to cheat that way.
I'll call for the question then.
Oh, want to sponsor the event or just?
No.
Sorry. So an individual whole sponsor is $500.
What your business, what's the fun activity?
In the memo that I included, there were only certain sponsorships available. One of them was a lunch sponsor, there was 2 dinner sponsors. Drive, women's longest drive, and 4 individual sponsors.
Yeah, the whole sponsors are $500.
We'd be fine with just the team. So,
Yeah, I think we're sending 4 people there to fill it. It's probably adequate for now.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you know, I'm for sure gonna win women's longest drive, so we better not sponsor that.
Did you want me to read the resolution then?
Sure.
It results that Mayor Carla Devlin and councilors Forrest Horechko, that's a deputy mayor.
I'm not going.
Let's start over. It resolved that Mayor Carla Devlin, councilors Forrest Horechko, Charles Postumus, and Brian Duval be authorized to attend the Broken Hill Ojibwe Nation annual golf tournament on August sixth, 2025 at the Mars Sand Hills Golf Course in Vivo, Manitoba.
We have a mover and we have a seconder. I'll call for the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. So that's our meeting this evening. We'll move down to correspondence. We have a letter written to us from the Minister of Finance, Sala, Honorable Adrian Sala. Our CAO had written a letter to Manitoba Hydro to inquire about the power outages. And the minister wrote back acknowledging some of those issues, also acknowledging and reiterating some of those issues are natural causes that we and Manitoba Hydro and the province have no control over. And then letting us know that there has been some upgrades and there will be some further refurbishment done that will help with those outages in the community. We can post that letter too, if we wanted to, on our website. We can also post the letter that the CAO wrote to Manitoba Hydro. So if we want to, you know, give direction, we can do that and let her post those. And then moving on to our monthly activity report from our CSO program. So I'll just go down the list of highlights because that's what we typically do. And our meetings only took in 30 minutes this evening, so I think we have some time. So we have tickets issued. We have Driving an unregistered vehicle, we have 6 of those tickets issued. Disobeying traffic control device, which is a red light, we have 3 of those tickets issued. Speeding tickets, we have 34 warnings and 48 tickets issued. And then, we actually have 3 tickets issued for driving on a sidewalk. And we have 4 tickets issued for driving without motor vehicle liability insurance. We had 71 tickets in total issued and 50 warnings issued. So a lot of these were 1 ticket, so I just went over the higher numbers. For East St. Paul traffic bylaw in the no truck route, we had 0 from a company, we had 0 warnings and 4 tickets issued. From a driver, from just an individual driving a truck that shouldn't be on a truck route, had 6 warnings and 20 tickets issued. So I think the companies are catching on and not taking that route down Wenzel, which is good for the municipality. And then we didn't have any other tickets issued. We have 3 warnings for unsecured load. Then moving down to
Right.
yeah, we didn't have any off-road liquor gaming, any of those tickets issued. Moving to bylaws, we had 5, these are all based on complaints, so CSOs obviously follow up on those bylaw complaints. We had 5 complaints with lot grade and other. We had 7 general inquiries. We had 3 noise bylaw complaints. We had 1 off-road vehicle complaint, 2 roadway hazards. We had 1 boulevard public reserve, 1 illegal dumping, 20 unsightly property complaints, 5 derelict building property complaints, registered or derelict vehicles, 2 of those. We had process serving, 5 complaints, civil matter, 2 complaints, signs in the RM, 48. We have to remind residents and business owners that we don't allow those signs to be on boulevards or attached to any of our properties. And zoning complaints forwarded to RRPD was 1, and we had 4 parking complaints. Moving down to so these are the provincial CSO's calls for service. The RCMP assisted 3 times, and we had community engagement. We had 8 incidents. And then provincial and CSO calls, we had 3 for fire event. We had 2 for mischief. We had 12 for school resource engagements. We had 48 for special attentions. We had 1 for suspicious circumstances, 1 for theft, 1 for traffic event, 5 for traffic events, and 2 for unsecured premises. So actually, all in all, lots of these numbers are going down as the program is getting more maturing. Councillor Duval?
Yeah, I see there's a couple of comments there on the top 5 speeding infractions. And again, we have one that is just crazy, 180 kilometers an hour on the line, which is 100 click zone.
Coordination.
Just for us, I would say advanced people, 180 kilometers an hour is 112 miles per hour. So that is, I think that was at night, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be interesting to, and we seem to have one of those every month, one of those ridiculous things. It'd be interesting to find out if we can, whatever happens to the driver. What's the
License
penalty?
penalty severe.
I'm sure it is, but it'd be nice to know what it is.
It's automatic removal of their license, their vehicle gets towed, and I think the suspension is
Yeah.
a few months,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a heavy heavy
time.
fine.
For that speed.
It's like dangerous driving and speeding and
It's 50,
and then
58.
the amount of demerits they get, their insurance and their license probably cost them $2,000-3,000 after that a year.
The crazy part is he came and pulled in here. He pulled into the East St. Paul's parking lot.
Kind of high.
Wanted to pay his ticket?
No, it says he had no reason to pull into there either. He just, oh, I'll hide in here or something.
Sorry, it says that? I guess I missed that.
The CSO was able to catch up and stop the vehicle in the in the East St. parking lot. The driver had no reason for the speed and further, no reason why he pulled into the lot either.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's under general.
Yeah.
Suppose he's gonna pull in anywhere to try and hide.
Yeah, but he's pulling in where we are, where our CSOs are.
He doesn't know that.
No.
Maybe not.
Any other comments in regards to the report? Okay, and then,
80.
our dog patrolling, we had 6 complaints, 2 cautions, and 2 general patrols. Councilor Fetchko?
First this month, last 2 had nothing. I don't know, I
Love to see our CSOs start dealing with the dog stuff and be done with prairie bylaw personally.
we had 3 months and none. It's the first time we've had any. Give us more money for CSOs. What is it, how much is it in a year?
And equipment and having the ability to bring the dogs to where they need to go. And it's also a 24-hour on-call service, so we just don't have the manpower to run 24 hours a day.
You see how many calls we get for the year?
Talking to the mic, so I can hear you. We're in camera.
No, we're not. We're still in the meeting.
Oh, sorry. I said, first we should see how many calls we get in a year, like total, yeah.
Based on the last few months, I
The
think
last couple of
Last
months, we had none. In the winter, we get none. It's just in the summer. And
Well, I don't know that we should say those stats, like that we get none in the winter. I think what the CO is saying is that we have to be equipped for that. And that would be it'd be another vehicle. It would be a vehicle equipped for dogs.
well, we did it before though, and like our community service did it.
Used to-
Greg Protch used to do it.
Yeah, but he had a van that was equipped to remove dogs and take.
Cover with what was put together on that, you know, kind of explains a little bit why model wouldn't work at this point in time, just because of per hour a day service and don't have staff 24 hours a day. There's no way of knowing. The last few months, you know, perhaps they've been open, and there are times where, you know, you get a lot.
I'm sure we have a total for the year.
I'm sure I can find it. Just try to explain that, you know, we're not set up for them. There's. Just, I said. Dog in return to the owner, sometimes dogs stay. Responsible for.
They don't take them to Central Park.
So if you're, I have to hear you if you're in.
Oh, I said, I thought they took them to Central Park, but I guess I'm not sure where they take them.
Central Park is a board. It's where you can pay to have your dog kept like a daycare
Yeah.
or over when you're on holidays. They're not a pound, I
They
would,
take them.
they still use that
Come to,
technology.
Doggy daycare they are.
Yeah, Counselor Duval?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we extended the contract 1 year from now into for a while, so the contract is coming up again over the next several months or whatever. Is that correct?
The contract expires at the end of the year.
Okay, so we can investigate that and have staff look at that and see what the
And
ramifications
yeah,
are.
I mean, just the one point I need to drive home is that we don't have the staff for that, so if we would require possibly, we have currently two and a half CSOs on staff right now. Who's going to manage a phone service, who's going to. It's actually supposed 24 hours a day, but there's some optics there that we would have to look at.
Well, the time to discuss it is when the discussion comes up.
It's gonna require additional staff.
Yeah, because it costs us about 13,000 a year.
1,500 a month.
Yeah, about 13,000 a year. So if you think about that, considering having a 24-hour call center and staffing it and a vehicle and equipment, I don't think it makes sense to look at it.
How many times do they have to seize a dog?
1,500.
I don't know.
It's 18,000.
18,000.
1,500 a month. 18,000.
It's 1,300.
1,300? Oh, it's 17, sorry.
I thought it was 15.
Okay.
Okay, and so moving along. So we have a bulletin from Municipal and Northern Relations, which it's the extension of the homeowner availability tax credit. I don't quite understand this, but you have to register your house as your primary residence, principal residence, but I thought that was all done on when you're you know,
You and I don't have to, none of us.
yeah, so I'm not quite understanding, but however, we should just post this so people are aware.
We're aware,
Okay.
it's been all over the media. Try to ensure that any calls that comes up there. Most people already have that credit. It used to be the $700 homeowners tax credit, so you've been getting it for years and years. This is just a drain. As mentioned, our tax clerk, she's very on top of things and sure everyone's getting those credits. And if they don't get it for whatever reason, they don't come to the office and ask for it, they can't collect it on their income tax.
Okay, and then we have a letter from the Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations, which is telling us that they adopted Bill 4, the Planning Amendment Act, which we all know. Councillor Horachko.
So my only question, I think, is we have a year to make our decision from when it was enacted June 3rd or 6 months?
We have,
Mike,
an RM has to render a decision before the next election,
Okay, because,
which is, as we know, is sometime in the third week in October.
okay. Because it says that we're gonna, have more information by spring of 2026. In my head, I thought it was only 6 months, so the numbers didn't jive, but that's fine.
No, and some of the other deadlines is the new capital plan has to be available by the end of next year, 2026. It's being worked on right now, you can be assured.
But you could still pull out now if you wanted to,
Yes, you can.
like soccer.
You can pull out of WMR.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you don't have to adhere to the provincial plan that will be created. You just won't have a voice at the table.
True.
Because whether there's a board or municipalities, it's my understanding that there's still a mandate to create a regional plan. And so the WMR would still move forward in creating that regional plan.
But we could decide to stay in. And then the next council comes in 2026, decides they want to pull out, they can pull up, or vice versa. I'm just saying.
I don't know that that's accurate.
Yeah.
It's not so easy after the next election. That's why that deadline. After the next election, you can only pull out, and this is a little bit of ambiguous. You can only pull out if there is a review called of the plan. Now, what's going to cause a review of that plan? It doesn't explain. but it does say a review is mandatory after 10 years. Okay, so there will be a review at year number 10 for sure, but could there be one earlier than that? Possibly, but again, it doesn't explain how that would come about.
Go ahead, Charles.
Can council make that, I thought 3 months prior to election, we couldn't make any major decisions.
6 months before. That's not a major decision.
180 days before the election,
6 months.
you can't make any major decisions.
But I don't think that would be a major decision. I think they're more financial.
I would.
Decisions. Wouldn't it? I don't know.
Wouldn't that be a major decision?
You know, let's, know that the plan is focused on Manitoba's economy and being competitive on a global stage. You have to understand that Manitoba as a whole is not competitive right now. And we're constantly overlooked and we're constantly losing opportunities. And so it's my opinion and that we should be working together for the betterment of our province, for our youth, for our economy. And just keep in mind, there will be a regional plan and either your voice is at the table or your voice is not. It doesn't remove you from adhering to a provincial document.
We'll see.
And also Bill 37, which is the parent document starting all of this several years ago. It is mandatory that all municipalities are in the capital region. You can't pull out of that. So there's going to be a lot of decisions made that
That's different than this.
it's there are going to be decisions made on a regional basis. And we will have to abide by those decisions because we're in the region. And to the mayor's point, if we're not in there, our voice won't be heard. So.
Okay, so this just being the devil's advocate, what if everybody pulled out of it?
There'll still be a regional plan. It'll be created by the WMR.
Well, possibly the government might look at it closer and say, hey, maybe we're doing something wrong and we gotta try to appease regions. Don't know.
Well, the government believes in regional planning and they've been very clear on that. It's the WMR is mandated to create a regional plan. So the director is going to create a regional plan, whether there's one person at the board table or 10 people at the board table, the province still needs a regional plan. The board, having the position, has the ability to have input, right, as the plan evolves. If we're not at the table, our input is not at the table. Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor,
I think, I think the one true thing we can say right now is we have zero information on what's in this plan, and my understanding is the same as yours in terms of, and we brought it up when we met with the minister, that the other plan had no economic development information or plan tied to it, and they committed to having something like that for this. So until we at least start to see a first draft and see what's in there, it'd be crazy in my mind to make a move right now. Just patience.
yes, patience, and you know, if we are concerned about the outcome of the plan, we should remain at the table with our voice. Councillor.
Well, in the letter here, and I'm not exactly sure how to take it here. They also, from our meeting, he said he advised bringing forward legislation in the spring of 2026 to further restore local authority and address your concerns. So,
See,
I have a feeling that might be related to the new appeal process that was brought in. That an applicant that hasn't received a favorable decision can appeal to the municipal board, and we had that. In fact, I think ours was the first instance right after this came into effect. And whereas before, no, that wouldn't happen. So and that's where there's a big, big concern from all the RMs over this. It takes away the authority, really the authority of the municipal councils, because their decisions can always be subject to appeal. And I'm pretty sure I read that too, Councillor Posthumus, and I think that's what that relates to.
plus the cost if it goes to the municipal board.
Of course, they are all this. No, yeah.
So the director of WMR and the planning, employees will be making rounds to councils to give them information, to answer questions, to do consultation. So we will see in the coming weeks, having meetings with the WMR. And they will inform you of progress to date and, moving forward, and the items of concern that will be addressed in the plan.
And further to Councillor Amos' comment, we would like to see what's in this new plan, of course, before we can make a decision. Now, unfortunately, unfortunately, there's two deadlines that don't overlap properly. We have to make a decision before the next election. And the deadline for this new plan to be tabled or to be approved, not just presented, but approved, which is a whole bunch of steps to get that far, of course, is 2 months after the election, the end of the calendar year. So are we going to have to make a decision without seeing it? I wouldn't be too concerned, because as pointed out by the mayor, there's going to be lots of discussions from WMR, how this thing is going to look. And I would fully expect there would be draft versions and et cetera, long before our election.
hopefully.
Yeah. So
I just have to correct, like, I think that the decision for the vote is, it's not, there's not an understanding. We're not making a decision on the plan when we remove ourselves from the WMR. You're just removing yourselves from the board.
yeah,
You're not removing yourselves from the regional plan that will be created,
that's right.
and you're not removing yourselves from voting for the plan. That's a provincial vote. That is not a WMR vote, and it's not a council vote. You're simply making the decision to not be part of the capital planning region, which is a board that deals with capital planning.
But the way it is right now, it's not good when the city can veto anything.
So that's actually not true. So that's why the director is going to come and speak to that. Of course, that's a conversation at the table, but the city of Winnipeg cannot vote on our planning, right? So if we have our development plan, the city of Winnipeg doesn't vote on that. And I think that those are that's some of the clarity that has to be brought forward. And so you can ask those questions as to what the city of Winnipeg votes on. And it's not, they have to have a double majority. It's not just if Scott votes, he gets everything he wants. That's not how it's structured. And he doesn't vote on our planning,
Well,
on our development plans.
based on talking with the minister, it seemed that when that was brought up, he didn't rebuff that. And annexing and things like that, there's things in there that are not advantageous for us to be in there right now, but we will see when the new,
But I
information comes up.
just want to bring back, not voting on the plan. We'd be voting to remove ourselves from the board,
I understand that.
not the plan,
You repeated
not the
that numerous
capital
times.
region.
I get
But you just said, but there's things in the plan that, like annexation, that we don't want to be part of, so we would, it doesn't, I think we have to understand that if there's a provincial document and we're the capital region, right?
We have the
We
right,
have to adhere to those legislations.
we have the right to remove ourselves from the planning board. So,
We have our right to remove ourselves from the capital planning region board,
yes,
not from the plan.
that's how.
So Imhoff?
I think this discussion right here is a prime example of why we need to gather some more information. So very clear, because even reading through the wording on the legislative assembly's website, it's still muddy. So a little bit of patience, we'll get all the information we need and we'll make an informed decision, not a knee-jerk, uninformed and irresponsible decision at this moment.
I'm not making a decision tonight. There's no resolution.
No. Like I'm not saying we're doing it tonight. We're just talking about, because there's rumors going around that other municipalities are looking to pull out right away. So, and to me, that's just,
It's just rumors.
Fair choice.
yeah, well, and whatever. I mean, it's impulsive. And I don't think you're serving your residents properly without gathering all the information that you need to make an informed decision. And I've been in the government a long time. I can't make any sense of some of this stuff in here either. So like, being able to ask direct questions is the only way that we're gonna be able to get to the answers that we're looking for.
And that's why the WMR team is coming around to municipalities to answer those questions in the coming weeks throughout summer.
So I guess we're gonna get notified, so we'll all be there.
She's coming to a council meeting. She'll be a
Okay.
delegate and it will be on camera and everybody in the municipality can watch.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so then we have to hand in our council reports. Do we have any in camera this evening? We do. So I'll have the resolution to move in camera.
It is all the council member with the camera as per section 153 of to discuss business development matters. The result that all matters discussed on camera to confidential as we went evidence.
Can I have a mover? Councillor Horechko, seconded by Councillor Imhoff. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. We are now moving. I have the resolution to move out of camera.
We resolve that council now moves out of camera and resumes the regular meeting of council.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Postumus, second by Councillor Imhoff. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We are now back into our meeting and we don't have any resolutions coming out of camera, so we will have the resolution read to adjourn.
Be resolved adjourned, the time being 7.
I have a mover, please. Councillor Horechko, second by Councillor Imhoff. Call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you and have a good evening.